Live from our studios in the nation's capital, your most reliable source for news, national, regional, and the rest of the world. Welcome to Kairi FM's Major News. Here's your presenter.
Digital economy strategy to pave the way for digitally enabled services on island. In the region, Guyanese nationals detained in drug operation on Barbados coast, and internationally, UK trial finds Pfizer and Moderna jabs give best overall boost. The details of the news after the break.
The big prizes are at Digicel this Christmas. Get chances to win $500 cash daily. You heard right, $500 cash every day up until Christmas Eve. Simply top up $15 or more. Pay a Digicel Plus, a postpaid bill in full or on time. Buy a Digicel Prime Jumbo Bundle or purchase a Wi-Fi mesh to qualify for your big wins daily. Plus, enter to win the grand prize of $15,000. A weekend for two at Cabrit's Resort and the Spa Kempinski, or the $1,500 supermarket shopping spree. That's more prizes and more chances to win. Visit a Digicel store today. Digicel, better together this Christmas.
Christmas is in the air and on the air with your Christmas station Kairi FM. Look out for our giveaways, our special advertising rates, and unique programming throughout December. Join our pop-up Christmas broadcast that highlights all the wonderful ideas for this Christmas. Call our booking department today. Telephone 614-3385 if you would like your business or your products or service to be featured. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from your genuine sound of Dominica, Kairi FM.
Great tidings not yet bring you, and a dancer.
Are you looking for good eggs? I mean quality fresh eggs straight from the farm? Well, we have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the quantity. We've got the right amount. Visit us at Prince City downstairs Kairi FM on Independence Street for your fresh farm eggs, or call telephone 448-7331, 448-7330 or 448-8752 and we'll get you your fresh farm eggs.
I'm not exaggerating, boiling with excitement.
Welcome back. We welcome our listeners on Variety Radio in Antigua and Flow TV channel 119 in St. Lucia. Government will establish in January 2022 a national commission to advance the causes of persons living with disabilities on island. The announcement comes from Minister responsible for the Dominicans with Disabilities portfolio, Dr. Addis King, on International Day of Persons with Disabilities. The establishment of a Commission on Disabilities is expected to call attention to the welfare of that vulnerable group.
The Honorable Prime Minister, in this year's budget address, articulated that a National Commission on Persons with Disabilities will be established in Dominica. I am happy to report that the National Commission will be put in place by the end of January 2022. This commission will work collaboratively with my ministry and government and will be expected to, among other matters, provide guidance on the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, evaluate programs, projects, and activities contained in the draft National Plan of Action on Persons with Disabilities, meet with members of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities and other organizations representing the interests of persons with disabilities. We are optimistic that with the establishment of the National Commission, a more proactive approach will be set in motion to assist in the overall well-being of all persons with disabilities in Dominica.
pledged her ministry's commitment to continue partnering with all organizations working with and for persons with disabilities. She described them among the hardest hit by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We continue to work with all our partner organizations in the private and public sectors who are taking action to realize the call as stated in the first book in the literature on disability, Nothing About Us Without Us. The COVID-19 pandemic has laid bare the persistent barriers and inequalities faced by all persons with disabilities who are among the hardest hit by this pandemic. A disability-inclusive pandemic response and recovery plan must include and be guided by those with disabilities themselves. Persons with disabilities must be given the opportunity to tell their stories themselves about their experiences with disabilities.
That was Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, Youth at Risk, Gender Affairs, Senior Security, and Dominicans with Disabilities, Dr. Addis King. In other news, 35 families in the Marigot constituency are expected to move into new homes funded by government's housing programs. Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Senator Gregory Riviere, says his Marigot constituency has never seen this level of investment in housing.
I am pleased to report that an additional 28 families of the Marigot and Concord area will soon receive their new homes under the Dominica Housing Recovery Project, Mr. Speaker. And it doesn't end there, Mr. Speaker. I also want to indicate to this very House that 7 additional families will hopefully move into their 3-bedroom housing before Christmas under the Sustainable Housing Solution. We have never seen such investment in housing by any government in our community before. This is Ed. May his soul rest in peace. Should have spoken to me earlier. Surely, Mr. Speaker, Marigot would be much further.
That was Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Senator Gregory Riviere, in his contribution to the House debate on the supplementary estimates this week. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has received the bulk of the expenditure of $79 million in the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2020 to 2021. In other top stories, a proposed digital economy strategy will create the environment for individuals to be digitally skilled and enable private sector to provide digitally enabled services. The final draft of this strategy will be presented to the Ministry of Public Works and Digital Economy next week. The word from coordinator of the Digital Economy Unit, Robert Tong.
December 8th, we'll be hosting another session where the ministry will be presenting the final draft of the Digital Dominica strategy. So again, Dominica wants to ensure that we have a strategy in order for us to move forward. What the government is planning to do is to ensure that we deal with our people, we deal with businesses, and we deal with the government. And we want to ensure that the people of Dominica become digitally skilled because that is the way forward. We need to ensure that jobs can be created and they have the tools and the ability to move forward from that standpoint.
Proper internet access and ensuring businesses can provide digital payments are among the objectives of the digital strategy.
In terms of businesses, we want to ensure that our private sector is enabled and that our businesses embrace digital marketing and digital payments and they support innovation. So even right now, Israel is already working with the EIC. They've already had 2 sessions in terms of teaching our business people how to move forward because it's important that our businesses also see what we're doing right now and use these services to move forward. And also from a government standpoint, to ensure that the government uses an efficient and uses productivity platforms to ensure that our services are centered around the people. And very important to ensure that there's proper regulation and that it's enforced. And we are creating a digital economy for our people. So take, for example, right now, if you go to get your passport, you will actually bring in your forms. You will go in with your forms. The government department will actually scan your forms and give you back your forms. So issues of lost documents are now a thing of the past. And now they can actually produce your passport in a much faster and timely basis.
Coordinator of the Digital Economy Unit, Robert Tong. Tong was addressing the graduation ceremony that is for the second cohort of the Work Online Dominica program today. 61 participants graduated from that program. We'll have more in a subsequent newscast. An attorney at law is weighing in on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the country's court system, saying it has increased efficiency of court proceedings. Attorney at law Candice Ducree says since the pandemic, cases have been resorted to being heard via the Zoom platform. She says this has been a major advantage for lawyers and in particular their overseas clientele.
It has quickened the pace because even though we do not have to appear in person anymore before the judge as previously, the court matters can still be heard via Zoom, and the court lists themselves can now be sent out in advance with the Zoom details and IDs for all to log in. Zoom has made it especially beneficial for clients who reside overseas, whereas before clients would have to travel to Dominica to be personally present for their matters or execute what is called a power of attorney, which appoints someone to act on their behalf in their matters. The clients can now stay where they are and just have the Zoom details sent to them and log in and be present for their matters. Even trials are being heard via Zoom as well, so court proceedings are definitely moving along.
Ducre says her law office has had to adapt to the lack of access at the court buildings since the pandemic.
Well, before the pandemic, the court was easier to access physically. However, due to the pandemic and the risk of exposure to the registry staff, the registry is closed to the public in the sense that persons who are not employed at the registry cannot go in presently. So that is definitely different. As regards the hearing of cases, initially there was a halt. Before the pandemic, attorneys and their clients had to appear before the judge in person, and that was the practice both civilly and criminally. However, currently, high court cases are being heard on Zoom, so there is no in-person anymore, and I can't say when or if in-person will ever resume again.
Attorney at law Candice Ducree. In more news, Dominica will welcome several cruise ships to its ports for 17 consecutive days as of today. According to the cruise ship schedule for 2021-2022, the MSC Seaview ship docked at the Roseau cruise ship berth this morning. Tomorrow, 2 ships will call on Dominica, one at Roseau cruise ship berth and another at the Woodbridge Bay port. Yesterday, MV Seven Seas Explorer visited our shores, also docking at the Roseau cruise ship berth. Dominica already has some 272 cruise ship scheduled visits. That's a significant increase when compared to last year's cruise season, which was seriously impacted by the pandemic. Chairman of Discover Dominica Authority and CEO of the Air and Seaport Authority, Benoit Badwell, says so far the cruise season here has been going as planned with the proper health protocols.
They've been pretty good. We've been having quite a few ships coming in. Today we have another vessel in port, and we are in fact ensuring that we meet all the health protocols. And we're extremely pleased because a lot of the service providers are being utilized, and so we want to make sure that that continues and that we go from strength to strength as the season goes on.
Badwell says a safety corridor in place for cruise passengers and crew has been effective.
All the health protocols and the safety corridor that we've established for the cruise persons, those who are vaccinated coming ashore, and they have Safety Nature programs that in terms of the Safety Nature sites that they go to, and that seems to be working very well.
Chairman of Discover Dominica Authority and CEO of the Air and Seaport Authority, Benoit Badwell. And the Dominican National Lottery is appealing to the holder of a winning ticket amounting to $110,000 to come claim their earnings. It's been 5 months since the winning numbers was announced, but the winner is yet to cash in on their winning ticket purchased at Portsmouth. Sales and Marketing Manager of the Dominican National Lottery, Ken George, says this will be the final appeal.
We at the Dominican National Lottery is making a final appeal to the general public and to the holder of the winning ticket of July 9, 2021, which was purchased at Jenner's Mall in Portsmouth. At the time, the jackpot was $220,000 and was won between Dominica and St. Lucia. The St. Lucia winner claimed the prize of $110,000, whereas the unclaimed prize for Dominica still remained pending. At midnight this evening, the $110,000 Dominica segment of the winning will be expired. We urge the public to look out for your ticket, and those of you who knew you purchased tickets on July 9th at Jenner's Mall in Portsmouth, please show up. It would be regrettable that someone in this hard economic time would have lost their winnings. Please try to find your ticket. This is a final appeal from the Dominican National Lottery.
That was Sales and Marketing Manager of the Dominican National Lottery, Ken George. Moving on to the regional scene, Barbadian law enforcement authorities say they have detained 5 people, including 4 persons identified as nationals of Guyana, during a drug operation in the island's territorial waters. This as the Royal Barbados Police Force, the Barbados Coast Guard, and other agencies participated in a joint counter-narcotics operation off the coast of Barbados on November 24th. This resulted in the seizure of contraband, the detaining of 5 individuals, 1 Barbadian and 4 persons identified as nationals of Guyana, and 1 vessel. The authorities would not disclose whether any drugs had been discovered. And internationally, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines being used in the UK as boosters give the best overall boost response, according to a UK trial of 7 different jabs. The trial is the first study of how well COVID booster jabs work and justifies the UK's early decision to use these 2 vaccines for boosters. All the vaccines tested raised immunity against COVID to some degree. Researchers said there were promising signs the boosters would still protect against illness and death from Omicron. The trial results are thought to have prompted the UK to order an extra 114 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to be rolled out over the next 2 years. Boosters can cut the risk of infection by more than 93%. All adults aged over 18 in the UK are being offered a booster jab, usually either Pfizer or Moderna, while scientists find out more about the Omicron variant. In the study of nearly 3,000 adults led by the University of Southampton and published in The Lancet, boosters were given about 3 months after second doses of AstraZeneca or Pfizer. All 7 vaccines tested boosted immunity when given after 2 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca, and 6 were effective following 2 doses of Pfizer, but some worked better than others. Overall, the mRNA vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer, gave the best boost to antibodies and T cells, particularly after 2 initial doses of AstraZeneca. The vaccines were equally effective in the over 70s and under 70s. The researchers say they found a strong response to all variants of the virus, including Alpha, Delta, and the original strain, and hope this will translate into protection against Omicron too. But they caution that further data will be necessary to work out what this means for long-term protection against serious disease. And you've just heard the national, regional, and international news. Here's a recap of the headlines. A National Commission on Disabilities to be established January end. Proposed digital economy strategy to pave the way for digitally enabled services on island. Guyanese nationals detained in drug operation on Barbados coast. And internationally, UK trial finds Pfizer and Moderna jabs give best overall boost. And those were the major news headlines this evening. Catch Kairi News on the go 24 hours a day on www.kairifm.com. Also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/KairiFM. Or you can follow us on Twitter at KairiFM Dominica. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Iduna John Baptist. Good evening and have a great weekend.